Take it is a beautiful tosser. So the trail that we're on this morning is the Uxbridge to Lindsay rail trail, and I've been on here before. In fact, I made a video which I'll leave a description below, so you should check that out. See, look at this bridge. I love this. I'm not doing the same ride as last time because about 16 kilometers into this trail, the trail itself splits into two. One arm of the trail goes up to Lindsay, which I did before, incredibly quiet trail that is. The other goes up to Cannington, and that's the one I'm going to take today. Good morning. While you're under this video checking out the link to my previous video, do me a massive favor and hit the like button, and why not subscribe to the channel as well for lots more rides like this. When they started building these rail lines in the 19th century, there were certain considerations, and just like today, a lot of it was to do with money and finding the cheapest way to get goods around the country. So obviously there were specific criteria, like a rail line should really join two major places. So for example, on this one, Uxbridge and Lindsay. But then it didn't always necessarily mean it would go by the most direct route. They're always looking to avoid gradients. That's a pretty obvious one. There are places around the world where the gradient is so steep on a railway that they actually employ a second locomotive just to get it up the hill, but that's expensive. There are engineering ways around that, for example blasting through mountains to build tunnels or cuttings or even embankments, but all of that's expensive. So they would always look for flat routes, but then also cheap land. And in lots of places, lots of the rail trails I've been on, you find large sections where it goes through marshland because that's just about as cheap as you can get. And this rail trail in particular is probably the best example of that. So this is where the trail splits. Last time I went this way, and it's about 30 kilometers to Lindsay, and then this time, oh, someone's had a flat tire, that's unfortunate. This time I'm going to go this way up to Cannington. So I had to be a little bit careful when I'm describing trails, because sometimes I've described a trail as easy, and then other people have kind of got a little bit annoyed in the comments because it's not by their standards easy. So this Cannington branch so far has had a lot of these sort of scooped out puddles. I mean, there's plenty of room to go around them, but it's definitely a case that you kind of have to keep your wits about you a bit more. It's a great trail, it's still a great surface, it's spitting up a lot of gravel at me, more so than the other part, but I think the reason that there's a lot more flooding just here is, well, if you look, we're right in the thick of the marsh. so it wouldn't take the water level in the marsh to raise very much for this to get flooded. So yeah, the first portion of the trail from Uxbridge to the split there was amazing. This is beautiful. I'm really enjoying this, but if you are coming on this part of the trail, just be prepared to dodge around some of these puddles and some of these dips, but otherwise it's awesome. So finally the trail seems to be just a little bit elevated from the marsh, so for now it's a little bit drier, famous last words, but I actually can't, and there was a frog just went across the path which suggests it's not that dry, but I actually can't change out of my small ring, so obviously my bike is temporarily a little bit upset with me. So that apparently was Cannington, a really nice picturesque little town, not a lot going on there, and there was really nowhere nice to sit, so I'm back on the trail heading back to Blackwater. And I will say that for people who are less experienced at riding trails, who perhaps want to try a trail for the first time, I would not recommend the section between Blackwater and Cannington. I've absolutely loved it. It's great fun. My bike is suffering. I couldn't change out of the small ring for a while. It's covered in mud. I was dodging around puddles. I was riding on very narrow edges, riding over rocks, and they're all sorts of things that if you are new to gravel riding, you're not going to be aware that that is exactly what can happen. There are a lot of smooth trails, a lot of beautiful trails. I've ridden on most of them, and I've made videos of most of them, so if you're new to the channel, please check out some of my old videos for trail rides. If you were doing this trail, I would say when you get to Blackwater from Uxbridge, head straight on to Lindsay. The rest of the trail in that direction is much smoother than this trail. This is one of the main reasons, maybe the main reason why I come to these trails. It's just so peaceful. So I'd intended to come and do this ride on Monday, which for us here was a statutory holiday, so I wasn't at work. But I woke up on Monday morning and it was raining, but what's worse, it was there was thunder and lightning, so I shelved the plan and then decided that I was going to come up the next possible day when the weather was good, was fair. and that just happened to be today, which is a work day. So when I woke up this morning, I called into work and asked for the day off, which they very graciously granted, and here I am. So it leaves me wondering, now I've got to the point where I'm sort of rearranging my work schedule, am I getting a bit addicted to gravel riding? I think that ship has long since sailed. And that was with me actively trying to avoid all of the mud. So I would recommend that if you are a beginner gravel cyclist and you've got a really nice bike, the route up to Cannington might not be the best route for you to take. It is a beautiful, beautiful you know, in so many of my videos I talk about people using the trails, ATV riders and people with dogs, and I talk about how tolerant people are of each other and how considerate. And then you get one person like that, and I'm really being very careful, one person like that who's acting moronically, and then it gives a really bad impression of all ATV riders. It's just the same as cyclists who behave badly, or people with dogs who behave badly. But you know, I come to the trails to get away from a lot of the anger and the negativity of the city, and then someone like that goes by and I get annoyed because I can feel myself seething, which really is not the whole point of doing this. But anyway, I'm going to let it go. I'm going to let that person be on their way, and yeah, I'm going to carry on. And I've just noticed this. And that apple tree, which, if you watch my videos regularly, in fact if you watched my Guelph to Goderich video, you'll know exactly why that brings a smile to my face. This is why you need to be really careful on these trails and kind of keep your eyes open at all times. Normally it's just a gopher hole. This looks like a gopher hole on steroids, but that's going to eat your wheel, and you're probably going to eat the dirt. So what we have to do is get some vegetation of some sort and make a funky little marker out of it. That'll weird people out so much that they'll spring to attention, hopefully. Uxbridge is about 5 kilometres in that direction. So just going to get the final bit of peace and quiet before we hit the town. By hit the town, I don't mean hit the town, I mean arrive at the town. And I'm back, and that was a surprisingly tough 60-kilometre ride, full of a little bit of everything. A little bit of single track, a lot of mud, and even an ATV rider. But I hope that you have enjoyed coming along with me for this ride. If you have, as ever, please remember, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you on the next ride.